Hi everyone, my name is Marquee Tad. I am a fashion designer. I am the head designer and owner of brand MarquisAli. I started this brand back in 2017 after I saw a Christian Dior fragrance commercial. On that commercial, I saw a trench coat that just really gave me a feeling that I'd never felt before, at least outside of what I was currently doing at that time, which was track and field, as I had planned on I planned on training to be an Olympian in the 400 meters, but God had other plans for me, and He sent me down this line. So now here I am, 7.5 years later, and it has been quite a journey as I've had to grow in many ways outside of just being a designer, outside of just being an artist. I've had to invest in myself as a man. I've had to invest in myself also as a child of God. I've had to invest in myself as in just recognizing the spirit and soul that exists within inside of myself in order for me to bring out the creations that I do. And that entire process was quite painful, but fun. And it still continues to be both. I found that this art form, as most art forms, when you seek mastery, tend to bring a sense of duality to them because it requires for you to have to understand who you are so that you can understand who it is that you're going to be selling to, who it is that you're going to be dressing, who it is that you're going to be um, essentially putting your vision onto. And you have to be able to adjust yourself to other people. Now, I know I jumped from the beginning to the end, but just to go back to the beginning, I am self taught. I did not go to school. Shout out to YouTube University for teaching me everything I know. I started off doing t shirts and just simply printing on things. I got into embroidery a little bit after that. And then once again, I got this invigorating feeling of just wanting to go deeper. I never have a sense of satisfaction when it comes to what it is that I create, which is why I constantly am just making things, putting it to the side and getting on to the next thing because there has always been this end project that I can't quite see, but I can feel it on the tips of my fingers. And it's like I'm reaching out for that. And so, in the process of me doing that, I have had to go through many lessons as far as, my business, as far as, once again, curating these things so that I am able to show up wherever I'm needed in the proper way that I need to show up. And one of the examples of that would be this coat right here. This coat right here is literally scribbles from an old notebook. So when I was in fourth grade, third grade, I would just draw randomly in my notebooks and on my tests and on all my papers. My teachers hated it. I got in a lot of trouble for it, but I didn't care. But this is what the result was. A lot of times I would put these things down that seemed random. But as I've started to pull from my past, as I have done with this coat, I realized that there's nothing random that necessarily happens in my life. Just like how I'm sitting here in front of this camera right now, it's very purposeful. And that's how I view everything that I see, especially once again when it comes to my art form. And just to explain this a little bit more, what you guys are looking at is these are two different layers that are two different fabrics that have been overlaid over each other and then sewn down with what is called a cross stitch in order for me to create these white lines. So this is all thread. And this one actually does and is my favorite because this has traveled long and far, long before I even made it. The fabric that you're seeing here with the pattern on it actually is from Sierra Leone. It was gifted to me from a friend of mine. And yeah, it's just, it's something that feels like me. And that's what I look to create when I come to other people. I want to create clothes that feel like you because I receive a lot of love, a lot of attention, a lot of appreciation for the things that I make. And so, what I look to do when I make clothes or when I make anything really is to be able to offer that to the person that is on the other side of that interaction. because I realized that there are three people involved when there are only two people in a sale. There's me, the person that's buying, and then the individual that's going to see them. That may be their wife, their husband. It might be somebody that's across the street. But I do know that there is a third person that is involved. And so while I want you to feel like as if you have on a second skin, I want for them to see that second skin, and I want them to see I want them to see the beauty in it just as I do. And that is essentially what I look to do here. So, as I said, I have been doing this now for 7.5 years. I have had the honor and opportunity to go to New York Fashion Week for the last 2 years in a row. Or, sorry, for the last 2 out of 3 years. I didn't go in 2024 for my own personal reasons, but I, even in that situation, I found just so much. And I have been able to be invited to several different fashion shows across the world. I've now been published in 3 different magazines in the last month. All 3 of them are from 3 different continents. And I still just enjoy this just as much as I did on the first day. None of it seems old. Every day seems new. And as far as I can see, I know that I'm going to be able to take this to a place that no one on this planet has imagined. So, as I did in the beginning of this, I'm going to jump to the end, but not to the end of where we are right now, but to where it is that I see this going. My overall vision for the brand MarquisAli is I'm going to build the grandest and largest fashion brand that this world has ever seen. And so that goes above all of the ones that we all currently love and know, your Louis Vuittons, your Chanels, your Gucci's, all of them. I think that there are things that we have yet to explore simply because we have gotten used to what we call luxury. And there are so many places that you can take luxury because the word luxury means to present something to someone in a space that is normal, that is abnormal. Something that is beyond their expectations. Matter of fact, the best way to put it, it's something that they didn't know that they wanted, but you're showing up with it. That's what a luxury is. And I know that there are ways that we can push the clothing industry to not just be good for looks, but to actually be good for health, to be good for us from a spiritual place. It can be good as far as our social standings, as we already see that. And I look to push that envelope because I know that there are many things that we can dive into when dealing with cloth. I mean, to me, it's just a canvas, and it's a canvas that happens to turn three-dimensional. And so for me, just as a painter can more than likely see into infinity, so can I when I look at clothes. And I think that for me, it has become just that, which is a spiritual experience, to create. It has been something that has once again allowed for me to really see myself. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't really get to do in this life. I know quite a few people who have lived 3 times longer than I am and haven't gotten half of the experience simply because they haven't allowed themselves to. They stop themselves from liking what they like. They stop themselves from doing what they wish, all in an attempt to fit into a box that is non-existent. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd much rather not go down that line. And I think God knew that, seeing as to how even prior to me training for the Olympics, I wanted to be a NASCAR driver when I was a kid. I'd always thought that, doing things that just did not seem normal. I always enjoyed the idea of being able to create and curate a life that when I'm gone will leave people in awe. And so with this, I wish and look to do that. And I believe that I can. I think that God has given me my direction. He's given me everything that I need. And he has allowed for me to exist in this space for the very reasons that I posed earlier. So once again, this really has been quite the journey. And the more that I dive into it, the more I realize just how little I know. And I don't just mean about clothes or fashion, I just mean life. Because as I have gotten into studying shapes of clothing and how to create them, that has actually brought me into many different forms of maths and science. As I've recently started studying quantum physics, quantum engineering, I've really gotten into geometry, looking at different shapes that span across what we call different dimensions. So, your first, second, third dimension, fourth, these are all things that you can find if you search in the sciences. And as you search through that more, you realize that these are all movements that have been frozen. And that's what we do when we create clothes. You imagine this free flowing outfit, and then you freeze it in a moment, and then you place it onto someone's body. And so I've been able to really see a lot of life as I have just continued to dive into this more and more and more. And I look forward to being able to create more. I look forward to being able to bring to life the visions that I've had in my head for quite a while now. And I know that there will be things that that many people will not just enjoy, but will also be helped by, will also feel a sense of peace from. And yeah, I think that when it comes down to it, I know what it is that I'm here to do, and it's all thanks to fashion. I understand what my assignment is on this planet simply because I have found fashion. And although I am in fashion, I do like to say I'm not a fashion designer. I'm just a designer who's chosen fashion. Because I know for a fact that whatever I touch will be just that. It will be designer, as we like to call it. Thank you for listening to my story. I genuinely hope that it added something to your day. I really hope that anybody that is looking to create anything, even if it's not fashion, understand that we're all artists. Understand that we are all doing the exact same thing. We're just doing it in different ways. And the thing that we're all doing is creating and expressing. I look forward to being able to show you guys more. So what we have here is a very simple dress. Just meant for a nice night out or nice day out, maybe to brunch, breakfast, things of that nature. The idea behind it was to give something that is simple yet elegant, which you'll see that reoccurring. But this one I was more so thinking tea party. So. So with this piece here, what we have is a collection of ideas that span across a couple of years. As you guys can see, I put a tree on there as well as the sun, the moon, and the earth. This is to essentially represent, the world is the center, our world is the center of, these celestial bodies. One thing about this coat is that parts of the paint do glow. They absorb light and then they will glow in the dark. And also, I just really love trench coats. So, had to hook that up. So. So this piece, I found myself this year practicing less with colors and painting and embroidery and stuff, and more so just looking to use the fabric to create a shape versus trying to put my own artist twist on it as I normally do. And I mean, in my own opinion, I think it was quite successful, but yeah. So what you'll see with this piece is once again the representation of simplicity but with elegance. The one thing that I've also looked into this year is just different fabrics that will look like they're something else, but they're actually not. So what I mean by that is most people would think that this is a velvet when really this is a very soft fleece. And it's meant to mimic a velvet feel with a bit of the heaviness of what would be a short pile fur. So this piece was actually inspired by was it Italian? Yes, an Italian couturier. His name is Cristobal Balenciaga. You guys know his brand, Balenciaga. I was watching a video of his and I saw a coat that he had made, and he had the ingenious idea to turn it around on the model, and then he made a piece from it. So this was born. This is made out of velvet as well as with some hand sewn crystals on it, once again to represent a little bit of simplicity and elegance. So what we have with these two pieces, it's a very simple short dress, but very soft. I love this fabric, honestly, probably one of my favorites that I've picked. And the coat itself is actually two parts of one whole. It is also used as a removable lining for the coat that I have on right now. They connect through magnets and you can take it on and off that way. And as you can see, it can also be used as a fully lined secondary coat as well. So with these pieces, I really just wanted to go for, once again, just a very simple, nice knit dress. As far as the coat, this is a tall tale showing of what I believe creativity to be, which is pretty much God letting you know what you didn't know have around, or letting you see what you didn't know that you had around you and how to use it. I made this coat pretty much out of scraps, not gonna lie, and it came out really well. On the inside is a faux short pile bear fur, and that is on the outside is a corduroy as well as a suede that I did an applique with in order to create the dripping motion. So this piece right here is actually my overall favorite one that I've ever done to this point. And the reason being is because of the time that I had made it and also where the drawings themselves that's on there came from. Everything that you're seeing on this coat came from different tests, papers, and things of that nature that I did that I would just scribble on from about 4th to 7th grade. Those were the notebooks I was looking at. And I took those and did, once again, a technique called applique in order to overlay the printed fabric on there, which was given to me by a friend of mine from Sierra Leone. And yeah, I'm absolutely in love with this coat. I think that as far as a designer goes, and maybe even as a person, this represents me the best. Thank you guys for joining us. Much appreciated. And I hope you guys enjoyed everything that you've seen here. I look forward to being able to create for you in the future. And, you know, keep on growing, keep on moving, trust God with everything you do, and just make sure that you're putting Him at the front of everything. Everything will be all right. Until next time.